Hello and welcome to Canvas, the Niger Delta Roundtable, where I discuss the future of this region, humongously blessed with hydrocarbon resources. Every week, we give some time to reflecting on topics relevant to the development of the Niger Delta and her people. This episode is no different as we're here once again. We're focusing on how to take this region to a more promising future. This podcast is sponsored by the operator of the NNPC, Renaissance Total Energies Achi Joint Venture, Renaissance Africa Energy Company Limited, headquartered in Port Harcourt. Many thanks for joining. I'm Adedayo Ilushakin. Now, our topic for this episode is surviving the squeeze. In this episode, we take a moment to breathe and reflect on the economic pressure cooker many Nigerians now live in. From rising food prices to shrinking incomes, the squeeze is real, and it's reshaping how we live, work, and dream. But this isn't just a story of hardship. It's a story of survival, of creativity, of community. We'll explore how people are finding ways to cope, to thrive, and to hold on to hope, even when the numbers don't add up. This is not a conversation about policy or politics. It's about people, about the choices we make every day to stay afloat, and about the quiet innovations happening in homes, markets, and minds across the Niger Delta and beyond. It is Canvas, the Niger Delta Roundtable once again. For this episode, our topic is surviving the squeeze. And my guest is Ignatius Chukwu. Ignatius Chukwu is regional editor with the Business Day newspapers. He has practiced journalism for about 47 years. Starting at the Daily Times, he has served in This Day, The Guardian, Post Express, News Africa London. He's also the founder of Silver News and Media Agency Limited, the publisher of Silver News Online. Ignatius Chukwu, hello, welcome to Canvas, the Niger Delta Roundtable.
Thank you, Dayo. Thank you to meet you here again.
It's such a great pleasure for me. And before we share recording, I said it's been a long time we did this. I had the distinct pleasure of interviewing you on radio a number of times.
Yes.
And it was always a good experience, not just for me in the studio, but for the audience as well who listened. And I'm glad that we're doing this again.
Thank you very much.
Great. And I have no doubts that this is going to be a truly insightful conversation also.
I hope so too.
You have covered Nigeria's economy for decades. How would you describe the current economic situation in the country, in historical context especially? Is this the worst squeeze that we've seen the Nigerians have expressed or experienced, pardon me?
Yeah, I think it's the worst squeeze because you are considering the percentage, the size of the squeeze. From the beginning, the problem with our economy has been that it's been a protected economy where oil was covering our weaknesses over the years. So when you were supposed to pay appropriate tax, you will not pay appropriate tax. If tax is not coming in, and that thing will come in, and that income will come in. So at a point, Nigeria's problem was how to manage the money that was coming in, not lack of money. So it made people to be living a subsidized lifestyle over the years. So for once, fuel, petrol, PMS was allowed to stand on to find this level. At the same time that dollar or naira was also asked to find this level. So it's like a baby that is being breastfed by the mother and suddenly the mother just dies and they say, baby, find your level. So the squeeze will be much. So over the years, each time price of fuel was adjusted, they were having price adjustment, which means they will adjust to reduce the subsidy component of the price of fuel and some other things. Therefore, for once, fuel was allowed. And fuel is a turnkey product that decides other things. So when it happened, Nigerians now face the real price of lifestyle. The schools needed to charge the price that will make them survive because they needed to pay teachers 3 times more. It simply means that if you make 35% profit, it's not your own. You use it to take care of, incidentally, even if you didn't take loan, but let's say you took loan. If you took loan at 35%, the first 35% profit you made is not your own. It's to service the loan. Then you now start looking for your own profit. The result will be high cost. But even if you didn't take loan, it means that if you bought an item at 100,000 naira to sell, you will need to sell it 135,000 naira for you to go back to the market and buy another piece. People who think you made 35% profit. You didn't make profit. Yeah, you sold what you bought. Why? For you to buy another piece of that same item and put in your shop, you will now buy the new one at 135,000. Have you seen that you made no profit? So when that is the rate of inflation, it simply means that the citizens will be over squeezed. I'm trying to explain why the squeeze is high. So, and that's why governments try to help that inflation rate or cost of lifestyle should not go too high because citizens will be forced to do irrational things. They do things you don't expect. They commit crimes that they don't care again. So that's the size of squeeze we have.
What would you say, or what would you attribute as being, or attribute this to as being responsible for this economic hardship? And what I mean is this. For example, you talked about subsidies and how you described it like a breastfeeding mother or a child whose breastfeeding mother suddenly departed or is no longer available. But because there are other parts of the world who are oil producing like we are, and there are subsidies, other social safety nets as well. And those economies are still thriving in spite of the existence of these subsidies. So considering the choices that have been made in Nigeria and where we are right now, what is responsible? What would you say is mostly responsible for this economic hardship? Is it bad policies? Is it global factors? Is it something deeper?
There are many things for not running the risk of diverting the roundtable today, the discussion today, to pure economic matters. The reasons why, number one, in Nigeria, I noticed over the years that we have a very large population that is not productive. So if you go to average household, especially in southern Nigeria, you see if there are 6 persons in the house, 1 or 2 persons only are earning income. So when income earners in a household are few at hand, that means the mouths that are feeding are more than the hands that are earning. It usually brings problems. So over the years, we came to believing that oil is to feed us. In most other countries, they used oil to fuel their economies. They will use oil to fuel a productive economy and then feed from the fruits of the productive economy. But we want to eat directly from the crude oil, and this is unprocessed. So when they say you have crude oil, when they say you have crude anything, it's not a blessing. They're telling you that you have potential. It is when you process or refine things that it will be good. So over the years, we depended on direct benefit from crude. So that is why subsidies exist everywhere. Even in Nigeria, the subsidy was not only on a PMS fuel. Education is heavily subsidized. That's why private universities and public universities, education is heavily subsidized. Energy was heavily, electricity was heavily subsidized, except now they are beginning to liberalize, right? So several things were subsidized in the area of consumption before you now come to infrastructure like road and the security forces and all that. So the population of Nigeria is very high. The income from oil was beginning to be inadequate. So by the time, a time came when, because of the cost of subsidizing, it now brought hardship to government. Government could no longer balance their books. then they now began to borrow heavily. So at that point, it was clear that subsidy had to go. Although some of us quarreled with the method of removing subsidy, let's not go there. But no matter the method, subsidy went. So when subsidy went, and subsidy on two major subsidies were running at the same time, on crude oil and on Naira. You had to subsidize the Naira for it to survive against the dollar. So when that was also put at the same time with the one of crude, so it's like two major sources for the common person were removed. So the impact caused triple effect. The inflation became too high, and all of us saw that the cost of running a family multiplied by 3 times. That is 300% increase. So it multiplied by 3 times. Houses, apartments that were 250,000 are now 500 to 750,000. Whatever you bought at rise 25,000 went to 105,000, is returning to 80,000. So you see, when cost of major things multiplied by more than 3, it means that you are spending 300 times or 3 times, which is 300. You are spending 3 times what you used to run your house. The question is, did you earn 3 times? No. You see end X, but you are now spending X times 3. So you need to be ingenious to manage it. So it brought problem.
We'll get to that ingenious part in a moment. However, this economic pressure, how has it impacted the lifestyles, the priorities or the choices of the average Nigerian, especially here in the Niger Delta?
Yeah, I like the word, especially in the Niger Delta, because cultural behaviors are also imperative. When we say Niger Delta, you now look at their attitude. For example, will a degree holder allow himself to be seen doing many a job? Some parts of the country, they don't mind. They will believe in survival. Another part of the country will say, no matter how difficult it is, I will not bring myself so low, right? Those decisions are personal and are influenced by the part of the country and the culture you come from. And that's why many Nigerians who run abroad, you think when they get there, they're going to be executive secretaries in companies in America. When they get there, they're going to do exactly that thing they will not want to do in Nigeria. That's what they do there, most of them. Only few professionals are employed right here. They're employed. They are now flown abroad. But those that nobody invited or nobody employed, when they now get there, whatever is available, they do. So it means that the lifestyle of the people of the Niger Delta, they are used over the years, they are used to certain things coming to them. Because if you come from oil community, there are things you expect, and they've been getting them. So the new situation poses fresh challenge to me, to people of Niger Delta, forcing them to begin to consider certain shifts. So it's been difficult for people of the Niger Delta because oil revenue is coming down. The things that give you free money, they are coming down. And now suddenly, expenditure exploded in your face. Exploded in your face. Your child was attending a particular type of school, and now the school fees in that school, the school fees are astronomically high. If you pay, you simply cannot even afford to buy a pin in your house. If you pay that amount, do you pay and come home and serve? Or do you withdraw your children from such school and now bring them to lower classes of schools and cause shock in their brain? In the morning when they're going to school, they're hiding because his classmates that used to see him in one type of school, they're now seeing it. So children can't take it. So it's not a minor matter to eat on the table and suddenly you are to put up with eating on the ground or on the floor, as they say, it causes shock. It's not everybody that can take it. If you used to, some of us who think we drive cars, Any little day, the car didn't start or a problem came. As you fling your bag, as you close the gate, okay, wait on, okay, what happened to your car? Okay. Instead of the trekking to kill me, what will kill me is the questions. Okay, where your car? So will mourn it more than me. So I will shut them. I said, are my legs not there? Am I not meant to trek? I fought to gain my right to trek. Can you imagine? It was now, the sympathy was deliberate to crush me, to make me feel inferior, to make me feel that a calamity occurred to me. Jesus, look me, that a car broke down, so I should break down psychologically, so my rank has crashed. So you see, that is ordinary car. You can now imagine that your check, any day your child didn't go to school, do you see how neighbors, Kelechi, he didn't go to school today. They said, they drove us from school. They said, I did not pay school fees. Hey, and nobody will bring the money and pay you. But they will pour the sympathy in an embarrassing way. So it makes our people not to, they can't bear it. So that is our culture. Our culture is that we care so much for the next person, which is, we pour sympathy, not empathy. So they will over-sympathize with you or your wife for not having that thing again. But and your wife knows that immediately they go to the corner, they say, Daya's wife, do you know that she's now using a account instead of... So those things bring pressure. So in the Niger Delta, people are used to a certain level of life. So when the situation now calls for you for drastic change, for cost cutting, for, as well as they say, cut your coat according to your cloth, and all those things, it is difficult. It is psychologically depressing. And sometimes you see people going into depression.
What sectors or demographics, in your estimation, are most affected or most impacted by this economic pressure?
I will say it goes across, but what you may be asking is maybe that we feel it more. It may happen to all, but it will feel it more. And that's why a father or mother will say, the little yam in the house, the little rice, let the children eat. That doesn't mean that he's not hungry. So parents try to bear things. So children, as I illustrated before, the child going to school, change of house. When we say, you advise that go and take a smaller apartment, go and take a rooming system, take 2 rooms instead of 3-bedroom flat. That child that is used to running across the street from their estate, ordinary to live at band A, band B, band whatever. You want to watch match, light goes. But you know that in Kelechi's estate, light is always there for them to watch their preferred teams. So when you want to watch, you now leave your area and go and visit Kelechi, so that people will watch match in his house. Why? They live where there is light. You see social sequestration and segregation taking place. So before 2 weeks, Kelechi will be feeling big before you. Can you see it? His ego will be rising while your own is coming down. A child, a teenager will feel it. But an adult may not care because what is pressing him is more than ego. But that teenager, if you want to toast somebody on the street, they will answer him better than the other one where light is always not there. So you see, pressures come to different age brackets. Pressures may be equal, but the ability to manage the pressure. So breadwinners are in trouble. And that's why you see slumping. If you check most dates now, people slump and die, slump and die, slump and die. In these 4 days, the 3 days that were announced to me that from closed elections, all came through slumping. So when our people were shouting to me, we don't know how they are remoting people now to fall and die. I tell them, people are managing health crisis and forging ahead. To treat malaria very well now, you will be between 75,000 and 100,000 to treat malaria very well. So, but you now go and manage and use 5,500 and swallow. So, you skip medication, you speak appropriate medication. So people are going down health-wise. So any little pressure, they slump and die. So you see, the breadwinners, the segment of those who win bread, they are the worst hit. Why? They endure more, they bear more. But ego pressure is more on the teenagers, the younger ones. But the person absorbing all the pressure, they are their parents. And that's why, but from now, the next 7 to 10 years, you'll be seeing that obituaries will be hovering around 48, 68. The pressure people, the people bearing the pressure, they will be the ones dropping fast. Middle-aged people, because they are the ones bearing it, taking less medication, eating less, sleeping less. The worst is sleep, because you need to, when we get to mitigations, part of the recommendations will be do 3 jobs. So the person doing the 3 jobs, less rest, less sleep, less food, less attention. You look after the younger ones. So you bear the pressure. If the situation doesn't get better fast, you can make it.
Wow. It is Canvas, the Niger Delta Roundtable, brought to you by Renaissance. We're discussing how Nigerians can survive the current economic squeeze. My guest is Ignatius Chukwu. We'll go for a break. We'll return in a moment. The conversation will continue. Do please stay with us.
In the heart of our journey, where the sun touches the earth and the wind whispers through the trees, a new chapter unfolds. A chapter where energy illuminates more than just bulbs. It lights up minds. A chapter of unity, a coming together with a common goal to energize futures and illuminating lives. In classrooms, young dreams evolve, inspired by the promise of a brighter tomorrow fueled by available energy. Small businesses flourish, becoming seeds of prosperity. Energy that empowers and is catalyst for growth and change. The future is energy. So, let's light up the path to a sustainable future together. Energy for you, me, and the world at large. Energy for people and planet. We are Renaissance.
Welcome back. Still Canvas, the Niger Delta Roundtable, brought to you by Renaissance Africa Energy Company. I'm Dio. My guest is still very much here, Ignatius Chukwu, regional editor with Business Day. Thank you. Welcome again.
Thank you.
We're discussing surviving the squeeze. There's no doubt there is an economic squeeze, an economic pressure cooker, if you will, that most, if not all, Nigerians are in at the moment. How do we navigate this trying period is what we're exploring right now. I've got some more questions for my guest here. What practical advice would you give to the average Nigerian who is, or the average business owner, or everyday income earners who are trying to stay afloat?
Yeah. Advice is important. Counsel is important. Although in this part of the world, we joke with it. Counseling, even paid ones, available all over the world. It's a profession now, legal, accounting. People take accounting courses or counsel to manage and arrange their finances. We go with native sense all the time and think that counsel is a luxury. It's not. The few years, now that was during the previous regime at a point. Remember when the previous regime suffered 2 economic squeezes. One was the first tenure, the other one was during COVID. So then squeezed the economy bad, very bad. I remember at the time the debate some 8 years ago was what should the federal government do because of low income and a terrible economy due to some global shifts. Well, should government sell assets and raise money? People are suggesting selling NPC, selling oil assets, selling LNG and everything. Other people say borrow your way through. At the end of the debate, that regime chose to borrow their way through. And today, when we are shouting, why borrow, we forgot that we recommended borrowing instead of selling national asset. Majority favored borrowing. Okay, so, and we are still on it till today. So, the squeeze came. So that time, when I looked at the situation, I called my family and people who used to depend on my counsel. I told them, go back to war strategy. Go back to war strategy. Otherwise, look, when a country is suffering squeeze, Dio, somebody must go down. And I'm not the one saying it. Adam Smith predicted it when they were building the building blocks of economic theories. They say when population is allowed to run riot, that if it's not controlled physically and artificially, natural causes will come and control it. One of which is hard economic situations, famine, war. As Nigeria does not control its population, are you not seeing some natural forces trying to control it? Is war not on us? Is a scarcity of food and expensive food not on us? And other things. So I called for war strategy. I was 6 and 8 years in the war. And being the first child of my father, I was my father's PA. So I entered the bush at night with him. We adopted several methods to keep the family to eat one meal a day. So I was like my father's PA. I was in the forest with him. And we did things. He did things. I was helping to hold the rope. So I called my people and I said, go back to war strategy. And I gave them strategies called war strategy. So for purposes of public consumption, I'm trying to say that first thing is there is traditional counsel, or cut your coat according to your size, reduce your expenditure, prioritize your spending. Those are traditional advice. But for the situation we are in now, I will go beyond the traditional counsel. I will say, apply what naturally in your life. I like to advise those who are not yet in trouble, so they prepare for trouble. So people who are in trouble, then we require emergency. If you are earning as a young person, you get into income, or even if you're already earning, anytime I get a job that pays me more or I'm promoted, I make sure that the extra income, as my income is X plus Y, which is what has come in new, I make sure that I take small from the Y to join to X. So that Y becomes a cushioning factor. So it's not if you're earning 500,000 and suddenly you are promoted to 700,000. You now redesign your spending so that it will consume the new 700,000. You will crash quick. So what do I advise? 50 plus 10 theory. 50 plus 10 theory means if you're earning an amount, try and fit in your lifestyle into 50% of your income plus 10%. That is to say 60%. Let 40%, let you be totally ignorant. I don't know, I don't have anything to do with that other 40%. It's not my money, right? So you run your life on 50 plus 10. So whenever nature, economy, trouble, forces force you, you go back to the remaining 40 and borrow and bring in. So that you'll be expanding small into your reserve 40. So if that is not the way you run your life, it means that anytime there is a squeeze, now you have thought about a squeeze of 300%. So if the squeeze is 300%, how can a man running on 100% of his income, how can he accommodate 300% sudden change? It's just not possible. It means now that if you are cutting down now, you are going to cut yourself into trouble. So then too, I'm talking about 50 plus 10 should be a theory to both the person who's earning now, whenever there's a shift in your income, do like that. 2 is what we call 888. This morning, I asked the children in my house, all my children have left me. So the people I call my children now are those that agree that they are my children. So I asked them, remember, how many hours are there in a day? Everybody said, hey, 24 hours, 24 hours. I said, you look at this man, ask you this question, you think it's an easy question. Think again. I said, a day is not 24 hours. A day is 8 hours. Immediately, a child is not brought up on 8, and a child is brought up on 24 hours. What it will mean is that if you earn 100,000, you think you have 100,000. You don't have 100,000. Who gave you 100,000? Until you draw this thing I told you, the 50 plus 1, you are not earning 100,000 because the other 40,000 is not your own. It's certainly not your own. The moment you regard it as your own, you are preparing for a very big crash in future. So 8 means you don't have 24 hours. You have 8 hours of work. You have 8 hours of sleep. You have 8 hours of leisure, which you use the other 8 hours for what you like. Some people do private study, learning new skill, doing additional work. So if you understand these kids, you use 8 hours to do official work. The other 8 hours that is for rest, you decide how many hours you borrow from your other 8 hours to earn extra income, to do 1 or 2 more jobs. So you begin to have extra, because when you close from there, you run to the shop where you used to help them in tailoring. You close there, you come and help in another place. So every day when you earn from your major official income, right? You now earn from the other 8 hours. You can sacrifice 4, 6, 5, according to what you can. Then that's your sleep of 8 hours. You can borrow 1 hour and turn it to join the other 8 hours. You have 9 hours. So that you earn small incomes outside the main income. Then within that concept also, you think that there was a time I was having issues when I was in the north. I lost my job. I was facing difficulty. My father wrote me a letter. My father was a teacher. He told me, you're living with many people. Please, many people living with you is supposed to be a liability. Look at them again as assets. Deploy every hand in your house to one small work. I went and did it. My dear, in 2 months, I was the one sharing food to people. We ignore many small things. That's your big garage. Do you know that garage can be a warehouse and you supply stores? A lot of people think as if you want to be a trader, to be a businessman means you can open shop. No. Many people who are traders, they don't have enough capital to stock everything they have. Do you know that it can be a supplier to a trader? What does it do to him? He will no longer be buying that item. You supply it. So his shop will be bigger, items will be more. He will be your salesman. So when he sells what you supplied, he will now give you your money plus your profit and now deploy his own real capital into new areas and make more profit. That way he will be depending on you. You are an investor into his shop. So that you don't need to go and hire your own shop, hire boy, run risk, pay tax and all of that. So you as a worker now, you buy some things and supply to a trader. So you are a quasi-trader. So these are a lot of things you can do to earn more. And then deploy every asset around you. People and the assets around you, deploy them to economic use so that there will be burning income earning pipes. Remember that this theory of a cost center and profit center. So if in your house you are the only profit center, almost everyone around you is a cost center, you will go down quick in a hypertension, sugar, and other sicknesses that are worrying middle-aged people. But when you turn almost everybody into a profit center, you will be that time they're using to watch video. What are they? Can they be doing it? I have people in my house who used to supply granite to supermarkets. They bottle them. So every time when the children are adult, all of them will gather a fried granite and blow them, bottle them, and supply. Whenever they lack money, they say, go to Edika and collect 500 and collect 1,000. So they're collecting from their granite money they supplied. So at that time, children that are 13 years, 14 years, you see them helping to create income outside me. Right? Right. So what I'm trying to say, deploying every burner around you into income profit so that the breadwinner does not crash. There are a lot of other things. If time permits us, we can look at them.
I'll ask a similar question. You are an economic observer, no doubt. I mean,
Yes.
basically, you ply a trade doing that. Have you observed any standout examples of innovation or resilience, either from a business entity or even an individual, as far as navigating this situation is concerned?
Let me quickly give the two pieces of advice. To survive this period. It will get better. It will get better. It's already getting better. The figures are pointing good, but the impact of what happened before, right? The impact. There's an African parable that says, it's not the time you cut the root of a tree that the leaves will dry, right? So the injury in the economy caused so much. It's caused deep consequences. So even if everything is the arrows are pointing down. If you look at corporate bodies, all those many companies that were running, that were posting losses for the past 3 years, past 2 years, they are suddenly posting fantastic and fabulous gains, profit. But you see, the trickle-down effect is not that same day. It will be coming down. It will be coming down. It will be coming down. So don't die before hope comes. No, live in hope, but don't die before help comes. That's what I mean. Don't die before help comes. So I tell them, 1, run less risk. 2, there's something that is not economic, but when Lift Above Poverty organization in Benin that created the microfinance, the biggest microfinance company in Nigeria and Africa, Lapo, in Benin. So as they were helping people, SMEs, with capital, they ran into a social factor. Relationships in families, husband and wife, so much quarrel and dispute in homes. We are making the people who took loan not to pay back. By the time you come to collect loan, your money back from the woman, they say she has been sacked by the husband. I just get to my point. The business has gone down. A little sickness by the child, the capital goes into hospital bill. So what did Lapo do? We were part of reviewing the research. I went to Benin. What did they do? 2 things. They created conflict resolution mechanism to help husbands and families to resolve issues. Because you think it doesn't concern you. You see that suddenly your loan sinks in. 2, they created health insurance. So at the moment you collect their loan, as they are paying the loan, you are paying insurance. So when your child is sick, instead of to carry their money to go and heal the baby, treat the child. Because if you, the woman said, my child is nowhere. I went to hospital, my money went there. He said, madam, I don't want to hear that. You must give me my money. He said, you mean that the life of my child is not important to you? Sentimentally, they will say, after paying this one, don't carry your loan. Is it all good that you want me my child to die? So they created a health insurance scheme into that system. So that when a child is sick, getting serious, you go to hospital and you don't pay. So you see, I'm trying to say that when we think economic, social factors also undercut and injure your economic capacity. So I am advising families, reduce conflict. There are so many conflicts in homes, and it doesn't allow homes to plan whatever they agree that they will do economically. Nobody will do it again because of that. So, but talking about businesses, the first thing that we're advising businesses to do is to do a lot of collaboration. Do a lot of collaboration. When you do collaboration, it will help that the factors in your business are not tied to one hand or to one person. So if there is, thank God they have just approved the new insurance, fire insurance. If anything happens to your business sinks. Collaboration helps that when your business is down, help comes from partners. It is important in business. But as individuals and homes, you see a lot of people depending 100% on their income. There are no thrift and savings schemes they belong to that will help them to spread their house rent, spread school fees. Most of can't those schemes be introduced so that when it's time for school fees, as you are paying small into that scheme, when it's time for school fees, the people will pay. I remember in Business Day, we organized one. So organize the collaborative schemes that will make you to pull out 500,000 at a time when you're a businessman. So collaborative schemes where you pay small when time comes. Also in health, in house rent, and in school fees. Thank you.
Let's talk about your craft, your trade, journalism, especially business journalism. How do you balance reporting the harsh realities with offering hope and direction to people, to those who consume your product?
Anyway, if you open, about 2 years ago, Business Day had a meeting, editorial meeting, management meeting, and they say, let's shift to solution journalism. So maybe I'll start sending to you for 1 week. If you look at major stories in Business Day every day, they dig out solutions on everything so that businesses, because our slogan is the voice of business. So 1, we speak for business and take the bullet. A contractor who is working for an organization, if he speaks the truth, they will fish out his file. So we talk for them and take the bullet. 2, we dig out suggestions, innovations, strategies, partnerships. Business Day had just concluded a report on how to support healthcare in Nigeria. Get them financing. They had very big meeting with the World Health Organization and the African Finance Corporation and then IFC. What does that do? To see where the gaps, the financing gaps in the healthcare, and how they can help with money so that our hospitals will become strong enough to reduce capital flight. Everybody going abroad to go and remove one tooth, right? So Business Day, we are being trained and retrained to provide solutions along the way and hope to our readers.
What signs should we be watching out for, either of a recovery or even a deeper crisis?
No. Take what I'm telling you to the bank. Take it on me. We are coming out and we are going to come out better, honestly. Coming from me is hard because of my sentimental anger. I'm supposed to be looking for wherever there is evil to talk. But you see, my loyalty to truth is far more important than any other loyalty. So, you see, if they had cushioned the takeoff, the suffering would have been gradual and would have been spread. So would have been suffering small. So it will be doing like this, more time will slump. But what they did was they used the hardest hammer. They did the worst. It can't be worse than the worst. So fuel can only get cheaper. When it's not ready to get cheaper, it will be in one place and be shaking. From 1,002 a liter, 1,000, under 1,000, 900, 800 or something, go to 900. So it can only be better because that's a major factor. 2, the Forex, I don't know what they did in the central bank. They were able to arrest that bull called Forex. So they're arresting it. Our foreign reserve has climbed back to $41 billion. It's not a small matter. So the indicators and indices are all positive and they can only get better as if raw material sourcing continues to get better. Because for manufacturing to be sourcing raw material from Nigeria, if they can be getting deeper into local raw materials for industry, improve financing, which has also loans to manufacturers. If this is continued to happen, and we have grown from 900,000 barrels per day, grown to 1.5, pushing to 1.6, touching the roof for 1.8, hoping for 2 million barrels a day, aspiring to 3 million barrels a day. When those things begin to happen again and gas begin to respond, the truth is that income will come more. And the tax revolution that is coming, if it boosts taxation the way we think it will, all of them put together. But the area that needs all this things you are doing, they are nonsense if security is not treated frontally. Our pandering security. I think something radical should be done to security, and I've given a lot of suggestions, which I don't want to begin to repeat here. If security is handled, do you know what it will give? Nigeria economy was a 24-hour economy. We shrunk to 12-hour economy. Now, how do you calculate it? When does a woman near you wake up to go out and buy morning vegetable and okra that they will resell? Before, they used to leave by 4 o'clock. If you stay by 4 o'clock, now they will rob you at your doorstep. So the economy they operate now is the economy you have to wait for day to break very well, nearly 7. Then you now, and in the evening, shops close. In my city, there was a time they were closing by 5. So the robbery, official robbery, will start by 6. So the more you chase people home, the more they start late and they close early. The business window per day is shrinking. So the meaning now will be that the turnover per day will be going down. So if security is handled, it's not only because of protection of life and property. It will free the economy to operate, even if we return to 16-hour economy, 20-hour economy, so that you can even have night shift, night travel. So if you do so, you see that our turnover will increase exponentially and the GDP will boost. So security is the one linking all of these things. That is holding us back.
Conclusively, I think, if you had an audience of policymakers in the country right now, what would you say to them?
Somebody from London, who's a Nigerian, called me some few months ago. He said he had a friend called him to say, that he has audience with the number one man, and we had to have a meeting the next day. What would he advise him to tell him? He said he gave him my blueprint. If I call the person's name, you may know him. He said he told me that he read it on Facebook. So I've been releasing, I think I have one. Besides, they formed a part of the economic team from Goodluck Jonathan down to a point. So the Nigerian Economic Summit Group were mostly made up of people that were close to us. So you never know how they will hear from you. If I meet them, I will say some of the policy measures that are rolling out now, they are hard, they are harsh, but they are measures that we have been waiting for years and nobody did them. Right economic measures are not popular. They're not popular. What will save you is do those hard things and harsh things and cushion them. That's why you have welfareism, to cushion the impact of capitalism instead of running communism that is a lie. Now, so if I would advise, I would say, drive more in the economic principles that you are driving into. Expanding tax, all these measures, but cushion them more, not selective cushioning. 2, handle security. Security will not allow the other good things you are doing to show. Security is so bad that it will deny the profits of other things. Work on security. Don't give people fish. Help them to learn how to fish. And all the foreign loans we are taking, especially railway loans from China and some other countries, I hear that the method of the discipline in raising income from the rail system, because you are going to be paying through the ticketing. So complete each line, commercialize it, and make sure that it starts paying that debt. If it doesn't pay at the right time, some of them, national assets may be confiscated. So work hard on repaying loans from Eastern world, work hard on security, cushion impact of hardship, create jobs. That's what I will say.
Thank you very much. And that's a wrap for this episode of Canvas, the Niger Delta Roundtable. We've discussed surviving the squeeze, economic pressure cooker most Nigerians are in now. I've had the pleasure and the insights of my guest on this episode. Ignatius Chukwu is regional editor with Business Day. As I had preempted before we started this, it's been a wonderful conversation.
Thank you very much, Dayo.
Thank you so much for your time. And by the way, if you watch this, I advise strongly that you go back, watch this again, take notes if you will. There were some very important parts of of this conversation where my guest gave advice or counsel, as he also called it, as to how you can navigate this trying time. But according to him as well, the indicators are up, the arrows are pointing upwards, things will get better, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't put some work in now before that time does come. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you very much.
And that's it on this episode of Canvas Niger Delta Roundtable. Many thanks for joining us. I'm Adid Dahi Elushakin. Bye for now.